Good morning, gifted crafters. It's crafting time.
Today is going to be that day. Gonna have things go my way. Embroidering fashion that sells. Using all my knowledge, I will excel. Stitch by stitch, let color shine bright. Turning a blank canvas into art feels right. Time is flying by and this is my art. With embroidery machines, I'm doing my part. I search the web for a magical design, looking high and low as I sip on my wine. Metallic thread, watch it shimmer and shine. I transform my blanks into a one-of-a-kind. Stitch by stitch, let color shine bright. Turning a blank canvas into art feels right. Time is flying by and this is my art. With embroidery machines, I'm doing my part. Hook it up if you want to embroider. Got the right tension, got my colors in order. Please no thread breaks, no time for rest. So much to do, I'll give it my best. Stitch by stitch, let color shine bright. Turning a blank canvas into art feels right. Time is flying by and this is my art. With embroidery machines, I'm doing my part.
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Good morning, Gifted Crafters, and welcome back to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. Good morning out there. We've got people tuning in from all over the place. It's amazing how crafters just kind of get together, and we love to support each other and do all kinds of crafts together. So this is the perfect place to be. My name is Nancy with GiftsHQ. If you're tuning in for the first time, drop yourself into the chat, or if you're watching the replay, go ahead and leave a little comment, because we like to welcome all kinds of newcomers and we share all kinds of tips and tricks, and we just do a little bit of every kind of craft. So we have a lot of fun here. Hope you're able to join us. We have a fantastic time. Let's see who we have tuning in from all over the place. We've got people from Philadelphia. Good morning, Joyce. We've got JBL from Alabama. Let's see. We've got our friends from Canada. Good morning, guys. All righty. We've got people from Minnesota. Good morning, Donna. Awesome. And Lake Ridge, Virginia. Good morning, Leslie. How are you? Of course, I've got my neighbor, Rebecca Copeland. Good morning. How are you? And it is steaming hot today, guys. I know some of you guys in the chat saying that it's a little chilly out there. Well, it's pretty hot down here. It's almost about 80 degrees and it's only like 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's going to be another hot, scorching day for us down here. But, you know, it's always good to kind of be in your craft room and in the AC, right? Good morning. All right, Louisiana. We've got North Carolina. Who did I miss? North Central Texas here. Good morning, Becky. Alrighty, Flo, Faker, McFake. We've got Joyce Adams, Jenny Owens, Donna from Minnesota. We've got Jenny from San Antonio, Texas. A lot of people from Texas. Awesome. Love it. Okay, well, I guess we are all ready to go, and today is Happy Hump Day. Yay! We are on a Wednesday here, so we are halfway there. Awesome. So this week, we've been working on a project, and we're going to continue off on that project. I'm going to give you a little bit of update what I was able to do yesterday. First off, I'll give you guys an update. My mom is still in the hospital. She is doing much better. She had a great day yesterday. So they're talking about releasing her. So don't know if it's going to happen today or tomorrow, but it is looking a lot better. So very, very happy that she is going to be released soon. They're just wanting to, just make sure everything is good. Her asthma is now kind of controlled, and she's looking much better. So thank you guys so much for all the prayers and everything. Love it. Really, really helped. And she's doing great, and she appreciates it. And it's seeing every single video. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh gosh, Flo, it is 61 degrees there. Oh boy, yeah, we wish it was a little bit chilly down here in South Florida. But I guess what we can do, let's start off first with our little drinks, right? Because we always have to start off with a little toast in the morning. I know everyone out there has some kind of favorite of theirs in the morning. So go ahead and raise your glass of whatever it is that you have in the morning, whether it's coffee, tea, soda, water, whatever it is. Raise your glass, and if you don't have a glass, I can pour one for you. But go ahead and raise your glass, and let's just toast to today, because we're hoping we're going to have a fantastic day. It's 24 hours from now. We're going to have a fantastic day, and something wonderful is going to happen to all of us. So go ahead and toast to that. And I'm going to take a little swivel myself. Yes, that is good. Alrighty, so we've got our little drink. I hope you're in your little cozy spot, or at least somewhere safe where you can watch. And I know everyone gets hungry. Yes, and you guys, it's so chilly out there. I think that what we need to do is go over to our snack shack. Don't you think? Let's head over to our snack shack and let's grab a little snack. It is really hot here in Miami, so I'm going to share a little bit of warmth for you guys up north. We're going to head over to the little beachy area and grab ourselves a snack. And yeah, we've got some dolphins in the background, and don't worry. we may be just, seeing them go by every once in a while, but we've got all kinds of snacks out there: coffee, tea, donuts, muffins, anything that you like. Blueberry muffin, blueberry bagel. Okay, no problem, Faker McFake. Definitely have anything that you want. It's out there. We've got free drone delivery, so don't forget about that too. So go ahead and just grab yourself whatever it is that you want and have that for your snack, because it's all calorie free. Okay, so we've got our snacks, we've got our drink, we're in our cozy spot. I think we are ready to begin, and we've got a lot to cover today. So first off, I wanted to mention someone. I cannot remember the name of the person that mentioned it, but someone mentioned yesterday about looking into EQ8, which is electric quilt. They have a program where you can, it helps you kind of to design your quilt. So I decided to go ahead and get the program, and then maybe we'll start kind of looking into that. For those of you who may already have it, maybe we can share some tips and do some designs together. So I went ahead and signed up for that, got that all rolling. And if you go to electricquilt.com, you can go ahead and get the software as well. I have a 20% off coupon. I put it down in the video description. It's a little link. It'll help us out. It's an affiliate link, but it has 20% off that you can get if you purchase the software. So have that below for those of you who are thinking about, you know, designing your quilts. It's just, you know, a really good program to kind of spice up your quilting skills and kind of do things a little bit more customized for yourself. They're having like a Labor Day special that they're having, so that's like the 20% off. So I kind of grabbed that so that you guys could take advantage of that. So 20% off, that's a pretty good little deal there. And I'm not sure how often they may have that 20% off. So if you're interested in grabbing it, you may want to snag that now. I'm going to be kind of going more into that program and learning some stuff there. It's stuff that I can kind of do while I'm on the go. So it makes it a little bit easier since I'm kind of back and forth between my mom's house and the hospital. So learning software for me is really easy for me to do because I kind of take it with me as I go. So I may be doing just a few things on that that I think should be a lot of fun. Oh, Quilting with Harriet says EQ8 intimidates me. Give me a brilliance any day. Yeah, it can be a little intimidating. And, you know, software, you know, is not easy for some people. It's, you know, it's things change. It becomes very confusing. But if you break it up into little pieces and little chunks, and I'm trying to, you know, write things down and put them into a perspective where it makes it easy to follow step by step. So I think that's really the key, to really take the time and do those little baby steps to lean into it. And so I do a lot of that. So I like to kind of break things down into a lot of pieces and really bring it all the way down so that anyone can understand. It should be able to just pick up a paper and follow the steps and be able to bang anything out. So that's why I like to kind of break things down that way. So I'm hoping that you guys would love to do that. Oh, Robin said she got the beginner book and do the lessons. It's fun. Awesome. Awesome. And that's something that, you know, we want to do kind of together and just kind of break it down and work through the pieces with you guys. I think, you know, it can be a lot of fun, and there's a lot of pretty cool things that you can do with that software. So I'm looking into that. So I just wanted to let you know about that 20%. It is out there. So if you were interested in it, this would be a great time to do that. Okay, so we've got the mom update. I let you know about that 20% off coupon, and we've got a couple things to talk about. So I did get to do a little bit of sewing last night. I did get the autumn skies. I went ahead and finished the last row. I still need to put it together, but I sewed the last row out. And I was able to do that, and I'll show that in just a second. And then I continued on with the spooky and sweet, and we got the little face all pulled together. So we're ready to kind of move to the next step. So before we do that, let's go over and let's head on over to our crafting news. I got 2 stories just to share with you guys really quick. Let's see, let's start in our Alabama area for those that are out there in the Alabama area in Lafayette. There's a little shop called Blue Button and Embroidery Quilts, and it's more than just a quilt shop. It's a place where there's creativity and the community gets to meet. There's an owner there by the name of Aiden Nelms. say that 5 times fast. Aiden Nels. And he first planned to open the quilt shop, but then truckers kept passing by the shop and asking for embroidered hats. And so she said, wait, I should be giving the customers what they want, right? So she decided to go ahead and purchase an embroidery machine And she taught herself how to embroider, and she's never looked back. So now she makes embroidered hats for local businesses. She does it even just one at a time, because she knows that a lot of these small businesses are not able to make these big bulk orders, right? And she often does also custom quilts. She does memory quilts, t-shirt quilts. She's got long arm quilting services, and she has it with a pretty quick turnaround time and a nice big heart, right? So she learned to sew from her grandmother, who also taught her how to kind of hold buttons and things together. So it was pretty neat that, you know, that's how she kind of got all of her skills, and now have been able to kind of continue to do that in her lifetime with her own shop. So that's pretty cool. I like the way she supports a lot of the small businesses and kind of keeps the community at the center of her work there. So I thought that was pretty neat. Then we're going to go over to Grand County, Colorado, where quilters are turning fabric and thread into something a little bit greater, right? There's two groups that's called the Grand Quilters and the Peaks and Pines Quilt Guild. Those two have teamed up together with the Kremlin Police Department to make sure that people that are kind of going through a hard time have something to hold on to. So it started when there was an officer by the name of Doug Crocker. He reached out to a local quilter by the name of Sharon Kamen, and by the summer she's delivered about 11 quilts so far. And her group then kind of started getting into it, and they brought in dozens more. So now all of the quilts are being given to the children removed from unsafe homes and adults kind of recovering from accidents and going through some kind of a trauma. So the officer says that the quilts aren't just blankets, you know, they're really just kind of symbolic and a way to let the person know that someone really cared. And they spend enough time to pour some love and time into that quilt. And so it helps them feel a little bit better. So I thought that was really nice, you know, when you're going through a really hard time, to have that little extra comfort. So it was really nice that those two teams kind of teamed up together to do that. So I thought that was pretty amazing. Okay, so let me show you guys what I have done so far. I'm gonna bring this over. And this is, I was able to go ahead and sew this together. And so I've got this going on here, which is just the sashing and the little woven stars here. Now, this is the last row. I already have the other two pieced together with the cornerstones. So I already have this piece. Now I'm just ready to kind of attach the other one. So it's just a matter now of pulling this all together. I've already got this here, the top area. So now I just need to add this bottom here. And then once I add this bottom, I'm going to do that last bottom border here of the cornerstones. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the borders going all the way across, which are already kind of cut up here. If I can get to them, here they are. They're already cut up, so it's just a matter of pulling them through and just sewing them all the way around. So these will be making really nice borders. And I love how it's kind of scrappy, right? It's not just one border all the way around. It's got these scrappy colors on here. So I think it's really going to play it really nice with all the colors and kind of tie the whole thing together. So really neat how this is coming together. You know, this can be done pretty quickly. And it's really a nice table topper. And I think it's going to be a great addition for the fall. So I really love that. So making progress on this one, and it's looking good. I'm hoping to finish this up. Hopefully I can finish this up by the end of the weekend. And I know we have a long weekend coming up. So it's really nice to be able to get that extra day to get in here, because I can kind of catch up to what I have been missing all week since I kind of been going back and forth. So it's great that I get that extra day, and I'm going to try to kind of really catch up with everything. And then we'll have something, some new stuff coming down the line. So really, really cool. Okay. Oh, between the long arm and embroidery software, your brain hurts. Oh boy, quilting with Harriet, that's too funny. Yeah, there's a lot of things going on. There's so much going on, you know, it's crazy. It's crazy. We've all got our daily lives to go through, right? And then you've got this stuff going on, and there's just stuff everywhere. So got to kind of just, you know, pace yourself, just try to do a little bit every day, you know. So when I got home yesterday, it's kind of my little de-stressor, just kind of came in here, just did, you know, I think I was in here maybe 30 minutes, just a little bit at a time, just, you know, getting a little bit done, and then off I go. Then I'm good, right? Although I'd like to be here longer, you know, but at least I got something done. So it made me feel a little bit better. Okay. So let's go over here. We've got our spooky and sweet, and I'll show you what we've done so far. So we've got our little face. We've got our little face here, and she came out so cute. We've got to give her a name. I like to name my little ghost here. And then here's the little witch hat. So I think she's coming out so adorable. I think it's adorable there. And the hat is looking great. And now the little face. And then now we have to kind of continue down this way onto this. And we're going to put they call them little hands, but I can barely see the hands on here. And then you're going to do like a little pumpkin. So if you look at the drawing, oh, good morning, Anna. How are you? Thanks for joining. Guys, Anna is here, and she is one of the coaches from our 305 sub, which is our Special Olympics. Oh, Mr. H says hi. She's a part of our, one of the coaches for Special Olympics for stand-up paddleboarding. So give her a nice big warm welcome. Yay. She's amazing, and we love her to death. We love her to death. So say hello to her. Okay, so here is the two. We've got the door banner, and then we have the wall hanging here. So you can see on the wall hanging, I guess you can see it a little bit better here. It's got these two little white cornerstones here. And I think that's what they're meaning by they're representing the hand. So it's kind of, you can't really see it too much, but that's what they're referencing as their hands, as what they are holding on to the little pumpkin here. So that's the next portion of this that we're going to be working on. We've got the hat, we've got the face. We're going to work our way down to do the hands and the pumpkin, because you realize here that the face and the witch hat do not line up 100%, right? So we've got this portion right here, and we've got all this empty space that we have to fill up. But the reason why you have that empty space, you know, a lot of people may freak out and say, oh my God, I did something wrong because I'm missing some piece here, but you're not. It's actually, it needs you to now do this bottom portion here with the little hands and the pumpkin. And then there's another step where we're going to add a longer strap that's going to tie the whole thing together. So you're not missing a step. It's just that last piece doesn't get put in until after you've done that bottom portion. And then that is what ties in the whole thing together here. And then you'll be done with that first piece, right? So we've gotten the hat, we've gotten the face. We're going to do this bottom piece and tie the whole thing together. That's going to be your first block. And so then this will be then added to the three little stars that you're going to be doing, as well as the Dracula. So you'll have the 3 stars, whether you do the door hanger or if you do the wall hanging, and then you have the Dracula. At that point, once you're done with that block and you're done, if you're done with all 3 pieces, before you bring it all together, you're going to want to decide what you want to do. That's where you have to decide, is it going to be that wall hanging, or is it going to be that door banner, or are you going to create something on your own? Because you can certainly do that as well. So if you were thinking of something like a table runner, maybe you're having a little Halloween party and you want to put some decoration out there, maybe make it like a banner, you can certainly do that, because you can kind of have all the blocks put together and have them side by side and lay it out longwise as well. Kind of similar to how they have it as the door hanger here, but you're going to have it as a table runner kind of going lengthwise here, right? This is lengthwise, you're going to have it widthwise, right? So another idea that you can kind of spin on this, like these are just two options that you can do, but you can certainly do other things with this, right? Other things that I thought about that you can do if you don't want to make any kind of a table runner or door banger or a wall hanging, you can make this into a pillow and just stuff it with stuffing inside, right? And just make a ghost pillow. Wouldn't that be cool if you have a little grandchild or something like that? You know, once you have it all squared out, you can just add a backing to it and stuff it with some stuffing in there and just make it as a pillow. So that would be really cute as well. So lots and lots of stuff going on with that. There's ideas that are pouring in all over the place. I mean, I'm sure you guys probably have other ideas as well. If you have anything that I haven't mentioned, you know, just drop it into the chat, because maybe someone is thinking about doing something a little bit different and you may be able to help with that. All right, let me just grab one little swivel here. Okay. Okay, so we are ready to go on to the next step. So let's kind of flip over to our instructions here and let's see where we are here. Okay, so now that we've completed the face, we are ready to, like I said, do the little hands, or what they call the little hands. And so you're going to need 3 pieces here. So I'm going to go over to my board. I'm going to grab piece U, piece the one that's labeled BB, as well as the Q fabric. So those are the 3 fabrics that you're going to need, and you're going to make one little unit of that. So let's go ahead and grab that. Matter of fact, you're doing the left hand unit and then you're going to be doing the right hand unit, and that's going to be using the same fabric. So go ahead and just grab those, and you're going to want to just set them to the side. If you want to grab the second one, you can as well, because it's using the same fabric. So you should have two cuts of fabric for each one of those letters. So just kind of put those over to the side. Okay. That's a great thing about having everything cut before you start sewing, because right, you would have had to stop and now cut that fabric out. Having everything laid out on the design board and all labeled just makes it a lot easier, and it helps you get the project done quicker too. Okay, so I'm going to put these over to the side because we are done with these for right now. We'll come back to those later. And I've got 2 little piles here. One is going to represent my left hand and the other will represent the right hand. And let's see, the instructions, it's pretty simple. Basically, you're going to take your Q fabric, which is that white fabric, and I've got some thread here. And you're going to take the BB fabric, which is the black fabric here. You're going to sew those 2 pieces together, and then you're going to put the U fabric alongside of that, which is that gray fabric. So you just have to see how you position it. So one is going to be the left hand unit, and then the other one will be going the other way, which will be, you know, the right hand unit. I'm not sure if you're seeing the opposite of me, but you know, you get what I mean here. So this is what we're going to be putting together and sewing. So let's do that. So I'm going to just turn it around so that it is in the same position as the instructions for me, because I tend to sew them the opposite way. So, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so this is my left hand and here's my right hand. I'm going to put my right hand one over to the side, bring these over, and then let's go ahead and sew these together. So, got my sewing machine here. Let me bring this around. I've got my thread tails. I am sending them over to the back because we want to make sure that they are out of the way. And I've got my diagonal seam tape laid out. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and do, of course, right sides together. Of course, we're working with solids, so there is no right side. They are both the same. And we're just going to lay one fabric on top of the other and make sure that it is completely covering the fabric behind it. You don't want to see any of the black fabric showing through. You want the white fabric to cover completely, right? So you don't want to see anything peeking through any of the three sides on that. And so then I'll just kind of lay this down, and we're going to do about 1/4 of an inch here. And put that right underneath my presser foot. I'm moving my needle to the center position and grabbing my sewing foot that moved away from me. So, okay, so we're ready to go. Of course, we talked about hand placement. So hands down, you know, when you were little, at least when I was in high school, they would take a typing class, and it's all about muscle memory, right? I remember our teacher, we were all lined up and we had these typewriters in front of us. And so you had to put your hands on your lap. And when she said go, without looking, you needed to put your hands and place them on top of the typewriter, right? And so what you had to do is basically just kind of remember where the keys are. And so it was pretty neat that you would do that. And after a while, your hands just like landed in the position. And it's very similar to what we do with our sewing machines, right? When we get to start sewing and you're sewing or you're piecing things together, your hands just need to automatically go into that position. And so when you're ready and you're ready to hit that sewing machine, your hands just naturally go into this position here where you are holding on to the fabric and you are ready to go. So try to get into that habit of doing that over and over again, because it's all about muscle memory. And then you'll start to do it without even thinking about it, where your hands will be right exactly where you need them to be to make sure that your fabric's going to flow right through the foot. You know, because if you get into that bad habit of just kind of holding it here or not even holding it, or, you know, your fabric's going to move all over the place. And then you're going to wonder why your 1/4 inch seam is not coming out right. So always do that, you know, hand placement. Try to think of it when you turn on your machine, you're ready to sew. Hand placement before you hit that pedal. That's the first thing that should kind of hit your head there. And then you after doing it a while, you just automatically want to do that. You don't want to pull out the seam ripper too early. That's right, exactly. Crafting with the dime. Stacey, it's exactly right. You want to start off with the correct position, right? And so you want to make sure that you do that. And if you kind of, when you turn that machine on, have my little voice there that says hand position, right? Get into your hand position. You need to get into that hand position every time. And after a while, it's just going to come naturally and you'll always do it. Exactly, Sharon. Or if you're playing a piano, exactly. You know, hand placement is always so important. So you want to make sure that you start off the right way. So before you hit that little pedal or you hit that little start button, or if you have, you know, and however it is that you start sewing with your machine, oops, so sorry, then make sure that you have your hand position on before you start to roll with it, okay? All right, so we've got this in place. I've got my needle lined up in the center, and I am working with the camera in front, so it's a little difficult, but it's all okay. I will deal with it. And there we go. It's really a very quick sew, so nothing too crazy there. Nice 1/4 inch seam. And then we're going to set this to the side, and oh boy, did I? Yes, I did. I've got to get my little ironing board all set up. So the first one's always just a setup piece, right? We've got to set this up. I've got my little iron, and yes, this is a tiny little piece, but you do need to press it before we add on the piece to the side, because if you don't, you can be off. Did I shorten my stitch? Yes. My stitch length is actually a 2.5. You can go down to a 2 as well, but my machine does pretty good at a 2.5. I could go down. If I go one more notch, it's going to bring it to a 2. And so having it at the 2 makes it a little bit difficult for me to kind of get the seam out if I make a mistake with my seam ripper. So I like to just do at a 2. A 2.0 is good enough for me. But if your machine could go down to like 2.2, that would be even better. Mine goes down into 0.5 increments, so I can go 2.0, 2.5. So if you can go just a little bit less, it's great, but you want to keep it so that, you know, if you have a mistake and you need to take the seam ripper out, you know, I want to make it, you know, just a little bit easier for myself if I have to do that. So yeah, you definitely will have your trusty little seam ripper always by your side. Remember the unsung hero song. We've got our little seam ripper song, guys. Remember that song when you're using it, and then you won't be so frustrated, right? Okay, I think my iron is a little hot now, so I think we're ready. So I'm going to go ahead and set the seam. Do not forget to set your seam, super important. You want to go ahead and iron that. And then I've got my little clapper here, and I can open up the seam. Even though this is just a small piece, you still want to go through the same steps. And now let me just see if they mention, yeah, they mentioned that the seam should go down. So you want it behind the black fabric. So make sure your seam is behind, and you go ahead and finger press that. And then I just kind of hold it on the side, such a small piece. Very carefully, just go ahead and iron that seam. And then I'm going to lift it up, and I'm going to bring it down flat again, and I'm going to give it another press. And it's just basically laying the iron right on top, let the heat go in there, and then I'm going to take my clapper and put it right on top and let the wood absorb that heat so it makes that seam nice and flat and crisp. Okay. So let's see, now we are ready to go ahead and add our second piece here. So I'm just going to move the iron over. I'll leave this here, and I'm going to double check that I'm doing this the right way. So this is the left hand unit. So that means that that little gray piece of fabric is going to be on my left. And that's going to be this unit right here that we're putting together. So again, just put it right on top. And if you notice, when you line this up, it should line up completely covering both sides of that unit, right? I should not be able to see the white or black fabric peeking out. So that's how we know that we've gotten this great. And I have this little thread here that I need to cut off, but that's fine. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this here. I know that my seam needs to go on this end, so I'm going to go ahead and lay that down and bring the machine back over here. And let's see, I had that long thread. Let me try to get it out of the way on this end. There we go. And then again, line this up with your machine, 1/4 inch seam. Lots of little threads, but I'm not too worried about it. Hand placement. Needle is in the center, and then we're just going to go ahead and sew. And it's a little piece, so it can get a little frustrating because they're so small. But you want to make sure, and I think I went off a little bit here, so a little trick on, let me just show you this. So this can happen, right? So we started off with our 1/4 inch seam. We were going good. And I kind of lifted my fingers and lost my placement. And you can see down here, that is not a 1/4 inch seam, right? It moved over and it went towards the edge of that fabric. So we want to fix that. How do we fix this without having to even undo these seams? Since I went too narrow here, I really just have to go ahead and continue to sew on the outer edge here. Because I'm going to fold this at the seam, I don't have to undo these stitches. I can leave them there. I mean, you can choose to take them out, but I'm going to go ahead and leave them. And here we are. We were at that 1/4 inch seam. Look at my line. Can you guys see? Let me try to move it up, scoot it up a little bit. And you can see here, I am not on that 1/4 inch seam line. It is narrow. And you can see how I kind of went narrow there towards the end. I told you guys, that's one of the things that I have that if I don't hold on to that fabric on these teeny tiny pieces, it's really difficult for me. So it kind of angles out on the edge, and you don't want that to happen to you. So maybe you, I know, so everyone struggles with their own little issues. This is one of my issues on the very edges of these little tiny pieces. It's really hard, and I'm not sure if it's because the camera's in the way and I can't see, but that's what kind of happens to me. So I was just going to go back and I'm going to fix this by having this seam come all the way here. So I should have my seam allowance kind of over here on the, ending up on this side of it. So let's try that again. And I'm going to try to see if I can do this. You can see I'm right on top of the same seam where I was. I had to kind of let go now, and I think we got it this time. Let's take a look, and you can barely see. You can see how I started off here, right on top. I'm still not too happy with it, though. Let me lay it down on the seam guide. I still kind of went a little off. So another trick you can do, if you're still not getting it, because it's the edge of that fabric, so it makes it so hard. So just flip it over and sew from the other side. And then you can just start it off here. So let's line that up here. And here we go again. Let's try it again. Oh, losing my little sewing foot. There we go. Yep, yeah, there we go. And I think we're good. We don't have to go the whole way because not all of it was wrong. So we've got a lot of threads to cut here, but you can really see the difference now. See how I have the line that went a little narrow, and then we have the line that's actually on that 1/4 inch. So now what I can do, if I really wanted to clean this up, I can go in with my seam ripper and remove that narrow stitch right here. And then just leave my 1/4 inch seam the way I need it to be. But when I open it up, because that stitch is on the outer portion of the seam line, that's exactly where it's going to fold. And so you won't even see that. So see there, you can do it a couple of times, and it's really hard with these little pieces, especially, you know, holding on to the fabric and this teeny tiny piece, and then of course I have the camera on in the front, so it makes it a little bit difficult. But all of those pieces together, you know, everyone kind of struggles with it. Don't think, and I know they have these shows that everyone kind of like, boom, it's done and it's always perfect. This is more of a realist kind of show. You know, we all make mistakes, and it's just a matter of knowing how to fix it, right? And I think that's how you really learn. It's just, it's not going to come out perfect every single time. You need to learn how to deal with the different mistakes that you make. And that's really what makes you better, right? Learning how to fix the mistakes, knowing what you can and can't do, and how to make them better. So there's always going to be a time that, you know, maybe the phone rings or someone calls you, or you just look away for a second and you shift your hand movement, right? That hand placement, that's why it's so important. If you shift it a little bit, you know, it's going to go through. If you have these teeny tiny pieces and you just don't have the space to hold on to it, then it can shift on you. So I don't have an issue showing you guys any of my mistakes, and you know, that's one of them. And so here, look at this now, you know, it looks clean, looks great, nice 1/4 inch, and then you flip it to the other side and you can see where that seam went a little narrow on me. So again, just pull it out. If I wanted to pull these stitches, I can certainly do that. Just go ahead and grab your seam ripper and just pull out the seam that is narrow right here. All right, so I would just pull this piece, and it's just a couple of stitches right here. But you really don't have to do it because you're not going to see it, right? So when I open this up, it's not there. It's going to rely on the closest seam here, and that's what it's folding on. So that is absolutely perfect. And you can see that there. Okay? So little tiny pieces can be a bit of a pain to do because you do have to kind of really, you have a hard time sometimes holding on to that. So hand placement's important, and these little tiny pieces, take your time in doing them because they can be a little bit challenging. So now let's go ahead. I'm going to set my seam on this one. I may or may not go back and unpick that. Really doesn't matter. Don't need to do it right now. And so I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and I'm checking to see which way the seam needs to go. And so the seam for this is going to actually go underneath the white and black portion here. So I'm going to fold that over and finger press that and keep that nice and open. And then I'll go ahead and give that a press. Okay. And then of course I'm going to lift it over, lay it flat, and give that a press as well. And then go ahead and put that clapper on top so that it can absorb that heat from the iron and leave it nice and crisp. Okay, but now we get to do it again because we've got to do the other side, right? So we've done the left unit, and here it is, nice and crisp. I'll show you here on the side. Looks great. Wouldn't even know that I had an issue with that, right? Perfect. And then now let's go ahead and do the other one. So we've got the 2 units here we've got to put together. And then we have the gray. So this one's going to go opposite. I'm going to give it just a little bit of a press. It helps a little bit too as I run it through the machine. I just like to have it nice and crisp. So again, the white on top of the black fabric. Make sure that your 3 sides, nothing is peeking out there. That's what you're going to piece together, is that top portion here. So let's bring that over to the machine. Line that up. Once again, I got to grab my foot, put it on the machine, hand placement. And you're going to want to drop that needle down right in that center, and then go ahead and stitch that. Okay. Once again, setting the seam, super important. And you're going to want to open the seam. And expose that. You're going to put the seam right behind the dark fabric. Set that. And then just set it again so it stays nice and flat. Okay. So we've got our little portion right here. And then now we just need to add the little gray piece. So we'll bring that together and line that up. Let's bring this over. Okay. Here we go. And let me make sure I am doing this the right way. Hold on a second. It's the opposite side that I'm sewing. All right. Okay, now I keep moving it with my fingers. That looks better. Okay. Here we are. Bring that right over and under. Bring that down a little bit, and there we go. Okay, needle down. And here we go. Okay. Let's see, I think we did a better job in terms of seam allowance. I'm going to open this up. And I think it shifted just a tiny bit on me, but doesn't look too bad. We're going to take a quick measure check on this one. And if it didn't come out the way, because I'm not too liking it a little too much, but let's just take a look. This is another way that you can check. So on this pattern, it gives you the finished sizes, right? So you want to do these measure checks as you go, because if you're off on one little unit, it's just going to compound the error over and over again. And so when you start assembling the item together, if one is off, the entire thing will be off. Now, if you're slightly off, there's some things that you can do within the seam allowance to kind of correct them as you go, but you want to try to be as close to the finished size as possible. So it really does help that out. So the finished size here is 2.5 by 3.5 on both the left and right units. So I'm going to check this here. Kind of hard to show you guys. Let me just grab a ruler and I will show it to you this way, because I kind of measure it on my cutting board here, and I can see right off the bat it looks great, but I'll put it underneath here so you guys could see it. Let's see, let's bring it down this way here, and I'll line it up right underneath here so you can see here we are on. I'm not sure exactly if you guys could see that too well. I'm a little bit crooked here. There we go. So you can see here I am bumped up right off on the edge of the ruler here and here, and we are 3.5 going this way, and it looks like we are 2.5 coming this way. So right on that line, if you guys can see that. And so no, there's kind of a glare, so it makes it a little hard. But this is where we're at here and over here. So it looks great. That's exactly the finished size that you want. And so this is a left-hand unit. Now, I'm not sure about this right-hand unit. I'm really not liking the way it came out. So I may just undo this and redo it again. But let's take a look. Don't know if I can put that here. On here. Can you guys see that? I don't think you can see. Oh, let's try to get this underneath. Okay, yeah, it is off. It is off. So I'm going to redo that top unit. I am not liking it. It is hitting that 3.5 inch mark is just a little bit off there. The 2.5 is not too bad, but the 3.5 is off. So I'm going to go back and just kind of undo this and redo this side here. But no big deal. We've got our seam ripper. That's what it's for. We can just sing the song as we go, right? So no problem. Seam ripper time. That's when you kind of put in the song and you're all okay. I mean, hey, this is live, right? We can't expect to be perfect every single time. There are things that happen. So I'm a little off today, and that's okay. We're off every day just a little bit. So I'm just going to go ahead and unpick this a little bit here, and then we will do it again. So I unpick my first few stitches there, and then I will just pull it across and open this back up, and you can see all the stitches just come right out. So I like to kind of just pull out the little threads on here, and then I kind of continue as I go, and then we'll just pull out the rest of it, and we'll just do it again. There we go, ready to go here. And we will sew this up again, no worries. That's the great part about sewing, you know, you can always hit that redo button, right? Alrighty, well, good morning, Barbara from Ohio. Awesome, I'm glad that you could join us today. And so we are just sewing this along, and I'm going to re-sew this again. And let's see if I can get this right. You know, I just may want to redo that first piece. I feel like that's kind of throwing it off a little bit here. Just a tad. It seems like it's thrown off just a tad there. Or it could be the cut. Let's just go through the whole thing. Why not? We've got a few minutes here. Let's just do that one more time. I think that the camera being in my way is a little bit distracting for me, but it's okay. All right, let's do this again. We're setting this over to the side. Let's go back to our sewing machine and line this up once more. I'm trying to take all the threads off that I can. And you could give it a little press really quick if you wanted to. I'll just kind of lay it right on top. Kind of helps kind of keep it straight there. And then I'm going to line this up again. We're going to try this once more underneath the needle. You get these threads out of the way because they are distracting. And this way I'm on top of the camera, so maybe it'll be a little bit better. And I'm holding on to it, and we're going to run through the machine. There we go. Oop. And that looks good. I'll go ahead and open this up again and set the seam. Looks better there to me. Open that up. Make sure my seam is in the right position. Give that a press. And then again, of course, run it through one more time. Maybe hit that with the clapper just for a second. Okay, that looks a little better. And so now I'm gonna run this other portion through and just make sure that I'm sewing it on the correct side. Because that's one thing that you can do is if you're doing on right and left units, you want to make sure that you're doing it on the right side. Okay, yeah, this side. Okay. Let me line this up here. And then I'm going to go ahead, lay this down on the machine, move all of these threads out of my way, and let's go ahead and give that a whirl here. Okay. There we go. Let's try that one more time. Something is stuck on my foot here. There we go. There we are. Drove it all the way down. Much better. Okay. That feels a little bit better there. And I'm liking how that one turned out. So much, much better. Okay, so while I go ahead and give this a press, let's move over to our inspirational quote of the day so that we can get you guys rolling with that. So today's quote of the day is, Let each moment spent sewing remind you that good things take time, and that's okay. And that's exactly what we're doing today. So if you make your mistakes, no worries. Take out that wonderful little seam ripper, sing a little song. It's all good, and it's all about patience and time and just enjoying the process itself. So don't be afraid to make those mistakes, because that's how we learn. So it's all good. Alrighty, so we got our little unit and I'm really happy with it. And I think this is looking really great, much better than the first time around. And sometimes it just takes doing it again, right? Alrighty, guys, that is it for our hour. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and all of your support. You guys being with me here on my little sewing journey here and just working on this spooky and sweet little item project here. So I really enjoyed myself, and thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a fantastic day. Don't forget to support all of the other YouTubers out there. They make a lot of content out there and they work really hard to do that. So thank you guys again for tuning in, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
So long for now, so long. Glad you stayed a while. Hope you liked my crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, keep your mind and space clutter-free. Hope your day is bright as can be. So long, my friends, till we craft once again. Bye now, stay crafting. See you tomorrow. So long, my friends, till we craft once again.